recipe machine, very convenient. This week we're doing pickle. When Amit and I got together, and we used to go off on these holidays to Shimla and Kasauli and places like that, and every time we would be driving down, Amit was like, where are the meat pickle shops? Where are the meat pickle shops? Because apparently that stretch of the highway after Chandigarh, before you got into the hills, that area is apparently famous for pickles, quail and chicken and duck and mutton and stuff like that. But we never found a pickle shop. So I thought, let me surprise my husband and make him a pickle. And I tried this Punjabi pickle, which was disastrous. But he did try and eat it, but it was very oily. I obviously got the recipe very wrong. And so I gave up on that till I met my grandaunt, my grandmother's sister. And I remembered that my grandmother used to make this amazing pickle with pork, and she'd made it once with deer. This was like 4 lifetimes ago when killing deer wasn't illegal. And it was a forest officer who got it for us, and that was amazing. So I figured that if I can get that recipe, because it's not very oily and it's really delicious, so if I can get that recipe, maybe Amit will be happy. And he was over the moon, and I've been making that pickle ever since. And it's a pickle you can do with chicken, you can do it with mutton, you can do it with pork, you can do it with beef, you can do it with jackfruit. So let's get on with pickling. Pickles in our country are very, very popular, and every region has their own method of pickling. Probably because we have all these seasons, and you want to preserve something from one season because you want to eat it in the other season. So whether it's vegetables, whether it's meats, whether it's fish, you want to make a pickle. And pickling is very different in our country as opposed to, say, the West, where their pickles are mostly just brine or vinegar or whatever. And in our country, of course, there's a lot of masalas that also go in to make that pickle that much more yummy and edible, I guess. The main ingredient, chicken. You marinate it with salt and turmeric and let it be there for a couple of hours so that the meat gets nice and salty. And the turmeric is basically like a preservative, but it also adds its own particular flavor and cuts that meaty smell. We have ginger garlic. We have this special roasted masala. Then we have some nigella seeds, kalonji, and we have some dry red chilies and red chili powder, not Kashmiri mirch, I'm using the hot one. And of course there's vinegar and mustard oil. Now I don't know if this pickle will lend itself if you use sunflower oil, but I've always made it in mustard oil, and I think mustard oil has a special flavor to add to all the pickles. Most of the pickles that I know of, except for the south, are made with mustard oil. And of course we have salt and turmeric. The ingredients are ready, the chicken is marinated. Now all we need to do is start heating the oil. It's not too much quantity, so I'm using a small wok, kadhai, pan. Since it's a pickle, you do need more oil than normal. I would say around 4 tablespoons. And we wait for the oil to heat a bit, and then we shall be adding the tempering. I have half a teaspoon of the kalonji, the nigella seeds, and I'm adding some dry red chilies. Grate them. I'm not going to let this fry too much because otherwise it will start burning. I'm going to add the chicken straight away. I'm going to cover it and put the flame on slow and let it cook. It will release water and then it will start browning. Do remember to stir it from time to time because you don't want it to burn, and because it's chicken it tends to cook faster. If you were doing this with say pork, then I boil my pork first and then put it in the oil. There's still a little water in the oil. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the ginger and the garlic. That's about 2 generous tablespoons of garlic and 2 conservative tablespoons of ginger. And give it a good stir and put the flame up, because you don't want the garlic sort of mushy. You want the pieces to be visible. At the same time you want the flavor to get into the liquid. As you can see, the water has dried up and what we have now is clear oil. So now is when I'm going to add the vinegar and the dry masalas, the masalas that I've roasted. Now I'm going to also add the red chili powder. Red chili powder of course is optional, depending on how much heat you can take, because remember there's already red chilies in the roasted masala. I'm just putting a teaspoonful because just the mayo like the hot. So this teaspoon is my mother's, and I think it's as old as my sister, which means it's very, very old. I'm just going to check the salt. I'm going to add a little more salt. And the pickle is done. Mr. Crow can smell it. I've switched off the fire. I'm going to let it cool in the pan before I bottle it. That's it. So simple and so quick. This goes beautifully with yellow dal and rice. You can also just have it with a nice sukhi roti, you know, the Indian bread, piece of Indian bread. It's great as a snack, and it's even good as a dish if you want to serve it as a dish for a party or something like that. And of course, if you're bottling it and keeping it, I would suggest you keep it in the fridge, because there are no preservatives added to this, and except for the oil and the vinegar, there's nothing else that's really taking care of it. So, and it's meat, so you want to make sure it's well preserved. And please do not use wet spoons if you're bottling it and keeping it. I remember as a little girl, I used to take a piece of this pickle in the afternoon, and I would sit in one corner of the balcony and I would read my Enid Blyton and I would nibble away at this. It is so yummy. And it's a dryish pickle, so it's like really yummy. Gonna taste a little bit. Of course, it gets even yummier as you keep it. So don't eat it the same day you're cooking it. Keep it for a day or two and then start consuming it, because the masalas, the spices and the vinegar and the oil sort of, you know, gets into the meat and makes it even juicier. Make sure it's a nice large mouth bottle, because you want your spoon to be able to go right down to the bottom. And put the pieces in first. Just make sure when you're shutting the lid, you don't do it before it's cooled down completely, because otherwise you'll have water vapor forming inside, and then the next thing you know, you have fungus in your beautiful chicken pickle. And it's a great thing to make and give as gifts to people. Yeah, that's it. Chicken pickle. And have a great weekend. And see you again next week. Hopefully Mr. Mehra will get off his butt and do some cooking. So, bye.